welcome to episode 3 of the Sheffield Hopcast, beer talk from the Steel City. And we're in the Devonshire Cat for the launch of Sheffield Beer Week today, and it's our Steel City special. We're going to be reviewing 4 beers by Sheffield breweries. I'm James Marriott, with me is our co-host Adam Nicholson. Adam, what is your favourite beer of the last month?
Well, you're going to surprise you this one because it is a New England style IPA.
Oh no!
And after last
You
month,
slated them last month.
so you all
Did you
know.
go to New England though?
No, I went to.
holiday?
I might as well do because I went to Copenhagen if you remember.
Yeah.
But it's not just that. I had a can from Sean, and it's the Wylam and Yeasty Boys.
All right.
WXY3, is it?
WXY3.
But
yeah.
when I was in Copenhagen, I had it about another 3 times. They must have done a big drop that weekend.
All right.
And so yeah, it's really good. I had a few other in that style as well, which I think I'm finding some hoppier ones. I think that might be one of them. Just slightly, just cutting through, just give just a glance of the West Coast somewhere.
Have you got a target for mentioning Copenhagen so many times tonight?
No,
that's twice in your first.
Yeah, I wish I were getting paid for it because
That's
they're doing
against free beer.
Yeah.
Brewery Lass and beer blogger Laura Rangeley. Your favourite beer of the month?
Mine's an IPA as well this month. Not a New England style though. Mine's from Odyssey Brew Co down in Herefordshire. It was Technical Warfare was the name of the beer. 7% IPA. Just beautifully crisp, fruity, clean, refreshing. Dangerously easy to drink, 7%. I got hold of that at the old workshop down in Kelham Island. Really good.
Sean is owner of Beer Central. Drinks a lot of beer a month. What's your favourite of the last?
I'm going to be very boring, James, and say another IPA, which is 3 in a row for us. Mine was at the very impressive Indie Beer Feast on Saturday night down at Abbeydale, and it was North Brewing's Curious Orange IPA. And exactly what you'd expect, full of juicy oranges, nice hoppy bitter finish. I thought it were absolutely fantastic.
It was seriously packed with orange, wasn't it?
It's actually
It certainly did the job.
a friend I was with said that you could have that for breakfast.
Yeah, breakfast, lunch and dinner, that's a perfect drink.
Not like that. 3-course beer.
We met him last month as the voice of the Russ Report. We get his company for the whole Hopcast this time around. From Ecclesall Ale Club, Russell Norton. Russell, what's been your favourite beer of the month?
Not an IPA. It was by Bristol Beer Factory, Tropical Pale Ale, about 3.8, 3.9%. I'm seeing a lot of tropical ales at the minute that are claiming to be tropical, and it's very much not. It's just hoppy with either like a bit of orange, a bit of lemon or something. Well, this really was citrus, tropical, the old shebang. 3 or 4 different flavours in there. Really easy drinking. Must have had about. It were on cask, yeah, down at Ale Club, and unfortunately it's all gone now. But I definitely had 3 or 4 pints of it. It was great. Absolutely loved it.
Good stuff. For me, I've had some really good beers this month. I know I had some really good beers at the Indie Beer Feast on Saturday, most of which I can't remember, I have to be honest. But I wanted to pick a local one, so I'm actually going to go with the Abbeydale Voyager IPA, the lime and sriracha version, which I know is not a new beer this month, but it was this month that I actually got around to drinking it. It's been sat in my fridge for quite a while. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was quite unusual, a very different kind of taste. The lime really came through, and yeah, that's been the beer I've had this month that I think has satisfied me the most. So there we go. It is our Sheffield special, so Sean has picked out 4 appropriate kind of local Steel City beers, and which one are we going to be trying first?
We're going to go for Sheffield's oldest existing brewery, Kelham Island Brewery, their Pride of Sheffield, just to show that we're not all craft monsters, despite IPAs and tropical pales getting mentioned there. I think it's important that we recognise that Sheffield has a real brewing history, and so we've got 4 different breweries, Kelham Island and Sheffield Brewery, that you would look at and suggest are more coming from a traditional angle, despite 1 or 2 modern ideas as well. And then 2 of the are the younger guns. Abbeydale, not a particularly young brewery, but the way that they have attacked the sort of craft market in the last couple of years, with people like Laura and Jim are on board, has been spectacular. So we've got our 2 trads and 2 a little bit more modern.
Okay, so the first of those is the
Kelham Pride of Sheffield. Yeah, our amber ale, as far as our shop's concerned, are incredibly popular, and perhaps the most popular gift beer. It's got Pride on the front, it's got Sheffield on the front. It's a 4% amber bitter. That's the type of style that really does sort of reveal Yorkshire and Sheffield historically. And so the most popular gift beer in the shop by some way. Students taking beers home for parents and for sisters and brothers and stuff like that. And plenty of Pride of Sheffields are taken home across the world, in fact. We're regular, someone will say, well, this is going to Moscow or this one's going to New Zealand. They're taking them a long way as gifts for people to reflect Sheffield.
I was going to kind of ask along those sort of lines because Sheffield obviously has a massive beer heritage, but I think sometimes maybe we wonder whether or not kind of the more traditional beers have got a little bit left behind, a little bit kind of forgotten. I don't know, Russ, maybe a question for you, because I know you are more of a kind of a traditional kind of cask drinker.
Yeah.
Do you feel your market is still very much catered for?
I feel like it's incredibly popular still, yeah. I mean, at Ale Club we have 5 casks, 8 kegs, and the kegs do outsell the cask in terms of sort of total numbers at the end of the night. However, we do get a lot of people trying the casks rather than the kegs. I mean, as long as the beer's turning over, it kind of suggests, doesn't it, that people are buying it and people are still interested. So
I've seen a lot less of Kelham Island stuff on the bar, really. When I moved to Sheffield 12 years ago, probably within the first couple of years of that, I've always been somebody who's like sort of experimented with beer a little bit, but once you kind of cement yourself in Sheffield and you realise kind of how much history it has and how much kind of passion people have in Sheffield for everything, really, whether it's football or beer or sport in general. But I mean, I just found out recently that the other pubs are closed now, isn't it? The Tap and Tanker, which was the city centre pub, which was owned by the brewery. But I had my first. I've tried a Sheffield for a long time, but I had my first pint of their Pale Rider in a long time, and I remember absolutely loving that 10 years ago. I'm not saying it's just, I think kind of things just become a little bit more interesting. But I go down the Fat Cat, we can have a banging pint of anything from Kelham Island, really. And if you are that kind of traditional drinker and you've not had them, have a look down the Fat Cat, beautiful little pub, quite quirky, got a lot of history. Is it kind of one of the first pubs that came back from in the early 90s, really, in the kind of revival of kind of craft ale, cask ale, with Dave Wickett with the brewery as well,
I think you can credit the Fat Cat with kind of getting Sheffield the reputation as cask beer capital of the country, really, and I think it's still kind of holding strong on that as well. It's a pub that I've been going to since I was really small. It was one of my dad's favourite pubs, so I always went there with my family for Sunday dinner and really little, and it's still got Diane behind the bar, who's still the bar manager. I've known her since I was sort of 2 years old, and it's just a really nice, one of those pubs that you feel a bit like family when you're in there, really.
Right, so while we enjoyed the Pride of Sheffield from Kelham Island Brewery, let's find out a little bit more about our venue for this month and exactly what's going on tonight to launch Sheffield Beer Week. So I caught up with the bar manager Jack to find out a bit more about the Devonshire Cat.
Hello, so my name is Jack Harlow. I'm the bar manager at the Devonshire Cat.
And it's not a normal Monday night at the Devonshire Cat tonight, is it? What's going on?
No, not tonight at all. So for Sheffield Beer Week, for the annual release of it, we have been chosen in the 4 ingredients hubs as the yeast hub for this week. So for this Monday night, we have famous beer historian Ron Patterson coming along to talk about his collaboration with Abbeydale Brewery, the 1868 Scotch Strong Ale, which is like a historic brew. It's got a lot of history behind it, and he's basically the three versions that we've got of it on today. The one we have on draft is a rum puncheon barrel aged. Then we've also got a French oak and an American oak, which we'll be giving out a sampling session of. So very different to usual Monday. So not many pound Jaeger bombs going out to students, more so lovely little samples going out to beer-related people.
Excellent. Now, it's not the only thing that you've got going on this week as part of Sheffield Beer Week, is it? There's some other things happening here as well.
No, not at all. So on Wednesday the 14th, we've got Burning Sky. We've got 3 of their bottles, which more of a rare bottling sample taste session. So we've got the Cherry Monolith, we've got a blend, and we've got the Saison Anniversaire. So the 3 of those, we're going to be doing a tasting session for £6.50. So that's a quite a short event, but across a really nice series of beers. Everything focused on yeast as we're going through the week, with us being the Yeast Hub. And then on the Thursday, we've got our event called Sourpuss, which is basically we've collaborated with Chorlton Brewery to do a 2 versus 2. So we've got 2 of Chorlton's, we've got the Lychee Lactose and the Rye Saison Sours. And then from Abbeydale, we've got our Unbeliever, the most recent hibiscus one on cask. And then we've also got a Saison on keg. And then on the Sunday, we also have one more for you, and that's a gin and sour beer pairing headed by our lovely leader Elizabeth Castley, the GM, and she's paired a variety of gins with a variety of sour beers for the event.
So plenty of stuff happening over the week. Jack, it's the first time that we've met tonight, and I feel that we know each other enough now that I can confess that this is the first time that I've been in the Devonshire Cat in its current guise.
Right.
Yes, absolutely. So if there's anyone else out there that's maybe not been in since the pub's kind of taken on its current form, just tell us a little bit about it and what the Devonshire Cat's all about now.
So since the Devonshire Cat undergo its refurb, since Abbeydale took on a new angle. Abbeydale have kept their historic roots of doing brews like Moonshine, doing Daily Bread, doing Deception. They're still keeping that stronghold of firm, decent, real ales. But now they're moving into the wider, the more new market, the more open market, and they've touched all areas. They're not a brewery who simply makes great IPAs. They're not a brewery who simply makes great sours. Not to name, but like a lot of the popular names across the UK at the minute who people recognise and they say, oh yeah, that's a great brewery. We cover all bases, and that's exactly what we've done as a pub or bar now. We've improved the imagery. It looks less like the Travel Tavern restaurant in Alan Partridge, and now it has gone a little bit more modern, but we've still maintained the great beers, and we've kept our heritage with good Belgian beers as well, and we aim to please every sort of side. So the cask crew, the keg crew, and the bottle crew, the Belgian.
Brilliant, Jack, thank you very much. Thank you for your time. I know you've got to head off soon, so thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of Sheffield Beer Week.
Well, a big thank you to Jack and to all the staff at the Devonshire Cat for making us feel very welcome. It is actually, this is the first time that we've done the Hopcast in an actual kind of live pub environment, so it's a little bit new for us. So far the 2 that we've done, one, to be fair, they shut the pub for us, the other one we're in a room kind of hidden away from everywhere else, so this is the first time that we've actually been literally in the middle of the pub while there's stuff going on.
I think it's better as long as the sound quality is good and everyone out there is listening to this without getting frustrated by it. I think it's better to be in amongst everyone and everything. And
I agree.
See the Yorkshire puddings coming out. And,
the chips do smell really good.
The beers on the bar, yeah.
Pride of Sheffield. Kelham Island. What are our thoughts, Adam?
It's a lot better than I remembered. I suppose it's hard really because I liked it when I last had it, but probably having so many different beers, modern kind of style beers since then, I imagine it to be a lot less tasteless. But it's got a really nice, I think John says, quite a sweet sort of smell, but actually it's got a really nice bitterness, and it's for 4%. It's a really nice kind of, sit in front of TV, kind of like sessionable, drink at home beer, but you can find it on cask. I'm sure there will be pubs that do it. I'm not seeing
I'd like, rather than in front of the TV, although we've got a bottle, so I suppose that's suitable, but I would think it's more get out for a walk for a couple of hours,
find it,
get yourself into a nice little boozer, or a nice fire, and 3 or 4 pints of pride of Sheffield, nice meat and taty pie. Sounds perfect.
Yeah, for me, it's probably not the kind of beer I'd buy a bottle of to drink at home. Just because we tend to share them and go for something a bit more outrageous, but definitely it does what it says on the tin. It's a really nice, just classic ale, really. Yeah.
It's got a nice kind of maltiness to it. I certainly don't dislike it. I'm probably the same as Laura in terms of it's probably not something that I would go out of my way to drink. But if someone bought me a bottle of it, I wouldn't pour it down the sink. I'd drink it. I'd quite enjoy drinking it. Russ, what do you think? It's obviously your kind of thing.
Yeah, like you've said, classic beer. For me, again, it's an occasion beer. I mean, it's not a middle of June beer at all. It has to be those sort of wintry months, like you've said, out for a walk. Long walk up to do the shops or whatever. Come back down. You think, just call in for a pint, and you see it on. Sit in that comfy chair of yours, and it's one of them beers, sort of very much an occasion beer for me. And yeah, I wouldn't personally go out my way to buy it. However, I appreciate everything about it, all its heritage and the way it's crafted and made, and the complexity to what is a simple bitter.
Excellent. What is next on our beer menu tonight, Sean?
We have got a new beer, certainly a new beer into bottle. It's from Sheffield Brewery, who are not that far away from the Fat Cat, of course, down Kelham Island. And it may have been available for some time on cask, I'm not aware, but first time in bottle. It's called Don, and it's a 5% plus chocolate orange stout.
Do you think this is named after the River Don, or after our microphone, which we have named Don, after Don King due to the muff on top of it that looks very much like Don King's head?
We have mentioned Don before on previous editions, so Nick may very well have listened to the show previously and decided that Don sounded like a great name.
Does Don become a mascot? That's the question.
Well, we'll put a picture up on Twitter and Facebook and just to explain.
I tweeted him this evening.
Oh well, yeah. If you follow Laura on Twitter, then.
So this sounds nice. Chocolate orange stout. Sounds really interesting. Certainly the first time that I've tasted this. Not one I've had before. 5.7%.
It's stronger.
Sounds good. Looking forward to this.
I have had this on casks before. And it was a pre-midday beer on. I went on the Beer O'Clock Show's Crimbo Crawl, which was in Sheffield on the 2nd of December. I didn't drink for all of November for charity purposes, and had a big night out on the 1st, straight onto this on the 2nd. It was a heavy weekend.
What did you think to it at the time?
I really enjoyed it. And then I realised I was hungover, but I think it probably saved me. I think had I not drunk it, I'd have been a lot more full.
So I'm right in thinking that
drink responsibly.
I'm right in thinking the River Don runs is the river that runs down through past their brew tap, which is the Gardener's Rest on Neep's End, and then I imagine that kind of follows through down past the brewery, which is just across the road, really, isn't it? Then throughout. Back down into Rotherham, I suppose.
Yeah. I don't know where it is to Rotherham in the end. But
no, it'll stop at Rotherham, but it goes that way.
To Rotherham.
I don't know if anyone else does this when I'm drinking a stout. It's about the aroma first.
That's
I've got to
exactly
spend a
what I
good
did
couple of minutes
first.
sniffing it before Yeah, particularly kind of coffee stout, chocolatey stout.
Straight into it, yeah.
Yeah, you get
The smell is, I think,
roasted
half the
aroma. Yeah,
I'm not getting much
any
chocolate.
orange.
I'm not.
Orange, sorry, yeah. It's got, yeah, I think it's something that's over 5%. I want that kind of nice like bite to it. I think it does really have that. I think I just want to go back for another swig. I'm not getting any orange from it really.
It's very gentle. I think the natural thing that people will do is we're going to compare it to the Sentinel chocolate orange now, aren't we?
Yeah. Or the I've not done for a while. That's now been canned, hasn't it?
It is.
Yeah,
It's a little bit thinner.
it's
Yeah,
just
not
not
quite
strong.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
A
this
little
has
bit
got
thinner.
quite a bit more body.
Yeah.
I brought
I think
it.
they are doing a double version of that kind of double the strength.
Yeah, I know they've done a double of the American Red quite recently. But I'm not aware yet on the chocolate orange.
I think I brought it last month, sorry, but it's similar to Golovka again, where it's got that kind of really drinkable but quite like nice bite to it.
It's easy drinking for 5.7%. It slides down really easily.
I think I'd probably know about it after 2 or 3 pints, but
Yeah.
And looking at the label, it's not named after the river or the microphone.
I've just got a mate called Don.
Who's not being the sack the researcher?
It's named after a brand of polish.
Oh right, because they're in an old polish factory.
A tin of which was found in the brewery.
Wow.
So there we go.
Well,
I think I'd have lied and maybe said it was after the river.
It was convenient.
I was just about to say it's a very polished performance.
I don't know if anybody, if people,
In light of Ken Dodd dying today, here we go.
going back, like between 5 and 10 years ago, when Sheffield was still very kind of cask oriented, I always really rated their porter. You must have had that. They used to bottle that about 4.5%. I always thought that one.
Brunswick Black.
No, it's an older
dark
one. It's
ale,
sort of, I can't remember what it's called now. It's like a red label to it. I always thought that was a really, really good kind of classic nice dark beer with lots of flavour and but really drinkable at the same time, which is it's not what you really want. You don't want this kind of watery black liquid, do you? You want something that has a bit of kind of flavour to it, a bit of bite to it.
That's drinkable, smooth enough, roast flavour.
Good body.
A bit more orange maybe. There's a little bit of bitterness that might come from the
A bit
orange.
of orange on the aftertaste, but you don't get much for the majority of it. Actually, that's probably, to be fair, not unlike an actual Terry's chocolate orange. When I eat them now, I don't really get very much orange out of them. Chocolate. You get a little bit, you get a little bit on kind of like the aftertaste. So actually, maybe it's fairly representative of an actual chocolate orange. So while we finish off our beers, although this is the official launch of the Sheffield Beer Week, the unofficial launch event was on Saturday with the first Indie Beer Feast, which was held at the Abbeydale Picture House. Laura and Sean were both there, and we'll chat to them in a minute. But first, Adam was at the daytime session, I was at the evening session, and this is our story of the day. And see who you think was a little bit worse for wear by the end.
So we're down here at Indie Beer Feast with Meg from Thornbridge and Jimmy from Lost Industry. Say hello.
Hello.
Hello. So I'm just wondering how you're finding the festival so far. We're in the middle of the daytime session. Meg?
It's been pretty great so far. It's cool to have a festival like this in Sheffield finally, so far so good.
Jimmy?
Yeah, it's a lovely atmosphere, nice buzzing crowd. Hopefully it can be an annual thing.
So what sort of beers have you brought down for this weekend then?
So the most popular one so far has been the barrel-aged raspberry sour. It's a super rare batch of beer, so that one's been really popular. We've got the gin-inspired wit. We've got our new nitro milk stout, which is the first time we've ever done a nitro beer, and we've got peach IPA on, a nice easy drinker. And obviously we've done a dry hop Casca Jaipur for the die-hard fans.
Brilliant. Jimmy?
We've brought 3 different sours. The Autumn Forest, we've brought the Mojito, and Emmeline, which is our Women in Beer collab. We've also got a couple of stouts as well, which are going down.
So we're kind of at the start of Beer Week for Sheffield. Have you got any plans this week? Have you got any involvement in the week festival?
A lot. I have got a lot of plans. So we obviously Thornbridge have 6 pubs, and we decided as a brewery there's no point in us doing anything in Sheffield because everybody already drinks our beer in our pubs. So we have 4 different breweries coming to see us. So we've got Black Iris coming to the Greystones for beer and cheese on Monday. We have got Beavertown coming to the Hallamshire for a Meet the Brewer on Wednesday, which broke the internet when we announced it. We've got Marble coming to the Bath on Thursday, and finally on Sunday we have got the Stag's Head. We've got Wild Baker, Brett, the head brewers, coming down to do a 5-course beer and food dinner.
Jimmy, I hear you might be at the Brewdog sometime this week.
Yes, I'm led to believe it's Tuesday, but I've got to meet the brewer, and we're showcasing our Brewdog 4th birthday beer, which is a Imperial Pale Stout based on coconut birthday cake.
So Meg, you've tried this?
I have tried it. It was delicious, and you got a free bit of coconut cake when you bought it. I was like, sold. Beer and cake.
I'm Ben, I'm the sales accounts manager at Magic Rock, and I've been with the brewery for close to 2 years now.
So we're now into the evening session of the Indie Beer Feast. How's it been for Magic Rock?
I think it's been really great, actually. For the fact that it's been the inaugural festival and there's not really been anything similar that's ever happened in Sheffield to my mind. It's been great. I think it's fairly typical of what's been going on in the area recently. Really friendly people, great enthusiasm about the various products that are on offer. That great combination of traditional beer styles and really forward-thinking breweries doing their thing. The feedback's been great about our beers on a personal level, but I've tasted a lot of fantastic beers today, and I think it's been a great day.
All right. I mean, this is going to be the hardest question that you're going to have to answer today. If you had to pick your favourite beer that you guys are selling today, what would you pick?
I would have said it was the Bearded Lady Hazelnut, which we've already sold out of, sorry.
Damn. You were telling me earlier that you have some links to Sheffield. You lived here before?
Yeah, I did live here for just over 18 months, actually, and I'm a huge fan of this town. There's a great... There's an intangible kind of feeling to the city that I have always really enjoyed. I never wanted to leave, and I think about this town every day. Honestly.
That is a really sweet thing to say.
I love Sheffield, and every time I come back I get this amazing, fuzzy, warm feeling. It feels like my place. And I know that sounds very strange, but I love Sheffield.
Okay, so I am a massive fan of everything that Magic Rock have probably ever done, every beer. Give us a few clues about what we've got to come over the next few months from Magic Rock.
Okay, that's a pretty interesting question, actually. I think the next major festival that we're looking forward to now is going to be Hop City. We have a couple of beers that are going to be pouring exclusively at Hop City, and you can probably imagine what they are, given the nature of the festival itself. And we're really excited for those beers. We've had a new IPA out very recently called Chronostasis, which is a 7% IPA, all Centennial, made to be... no, that's not the right way of putting it. Made as an homage to many people in the brewery's favourite IPA on the planet, which is Two Hearted Ale, obviously, from Bells, Michigan, one of the greatest beers that exists in the world. And I think there maybe will be a few more homage projects that we do in future, but I can't give away too much. I would say that the beers that we will have pouring at Hop City are pretty exciting. And if you're in the area, you should absolutely go to that festival. I mean, it's a no-brainer.
It sounds good. Brilliant. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Dude, it's my absolute pleasure. It's really nice to meet you.
So we've got Jim here from Abbeydale. Hi, Jim.
Hello.
So how you found the festival so far?
It's a really good day so far. There's a lot of people. It's a good atmosphere. And it's a really good space, which is great to see being used again. For a long time it's been empty, and to have such life back into it again, it's great.
So what sort of beers have you brought down today then?
So we've had the first pour of our double IPA, which is tasting great, even though I say so myself. We've also got another IPA of our Voyager. We've got a Salvation, and we've also got a ranging tap that's had some of our sour beer and our special barrel-aged beers. So far, partway through the first session, we've had an oak-fermented saison and Encantada, which is our Groot, at about 7.5%, which is, again, tasting great.
So what plans have Abbeydale got for Sheffield Beer Week?
So we've got several events happening over the week, many of which focused around the kind of Funk Dungeon project that we've got going, which is sour beers and barrel-aged, long-term barrel-aged beers. And we've got a few. We've got a collaboration with Ron Pattinson, who's a beer historian, on Monday. And that beer will again be at the Old Workshop from Wednesday onwards. And then we've got an event also on Wednesday with Chorlton, doing some sour beers again with them, and some of our beers against some of their beers. And then on Saturday, we're having a vegan brunch at the Rutland Arms with some of our kind of really one-off beers made with Emma, the chef there, by one of our brewers, Christy, who has come up with some really stupid ideas of beers that taste really, really good. So yeah, we've got quite a lot going on over the weekend. So yeah.
Hi, I'm Sarah from North Brewing Co, and I work in the marketing department on events and communications.
So this is the first time this event's ever happened in Sheffield. What's your general sort of feeling about it? How's it been?
It's been really good fun. The building's amazing. It's really nice to see, without being too soppy, like an old building like this, be full of people and be used as a kind of community space. It's really cool. And it's a beer event where everyone's dead friendly, everyone's interested in the beers, and all the other breweries have been really friendly and helped me out with my taps when they weren't working this morning and stuff like that. So no, it's been really good.
Give us a bit of a clue about what you've got in the pipeline, because it's an exciting brewery, so you must have some like decent beers in the pipeline.
We've got a whole host of collabs coming up. So we're going to be pouring at Hop City in Leeds at the end of March, and during Hop City we're going to do a collaboration with Left Handed Giant from Bristol. We're going to do a collab with Roosters in April, and Het Ultra are coming over from Holland, from the Netherlands, so we're going to do one with them. And there's somebody else who I'm going to kick myself for forgetting. But yeah, the next kind of 6 weeks in terms of collabs. 6 Degrees North. Yeah, they're coming down from Scotland. So we've got a whole load of collabs coming up.
So we've got Rich from Blackjack here today. How you doing, Rich?
Not bad.
So how you found the festival so far?
Oh, it's a lovely little festival, brilliant venue. It's nice to see something happening like this.
So what beers you brought today? Now, if anybody's not heard of Blackjack, kind of what sort of beers can they expect from you as a brewery?
We've got a bit of a range today, so we've got an export porter, nice strong dark beer. We've got a jasmine tea saison and a nice IPA on at the moment, and then a few more to come. We're also distributing for like other breweries, so we're showcasing them here. We've got Brew York, we've got Moore, and we've got Runaway.
So we've got Sue here from Mad Hatter. So how have you found the festival so far? We're midway into the first session of the event. How's it been for you so far?
It's been great, yeah. We've been really busy and it's a lovely atmosphere. Been round and spoken to all the other breweries and they're all having a lovely time too.
So what kind of beers have you brought today then?
So we've brought a range, but the two that are going down really well are Tricky Flamingo, our raspberry lager, and we've actually brought the last keg of that, so that's nice. I think that's going to go this session. And then Lightling Sombrero, which is a collab that we did with Wild Weather, which is a gooseberry dipper.
So any people from Sheffield who maybe are not familiar with Mad Hatter, could you kind of sum up the brewery in a few words?
So I guess that our aim is to make mad, interesting beers that are also accessible.
My name's Andy and I'm the owner. I call myself the head of cleaning at Elusive Brewing.
So, I mean, this is like the first time this has happened in Sheffield before. How have you found it?
It's been really good. Like, I love the building, I love the ambience of the room we're in. Like, it's a podcast, so I'll describe it. It's like a big old cinema in I'm guessing, Victorian building.
Yeah.
There's busts on the wall. There's like, imagine like old school boxes upstairs. Beautiful building, really nice.
Brilliant. If I had to push you for which is your favourite beer of the ones you're selling today, what would you pick?
I suppose Lord Nelson. It's a pretty special beer for us because it's the first beer we brewed commercially. We brewed it with Weirdbeard in West London, and we've been brewing it every year. We release it once a year, and yeah, our first commercial beer, so that's one that I would pick as my favourite.
Good reason. What does 28? Well, the rest of 2018 hold for you guys?
We want to move and get bigger. Where we are is very small, and we've been going just nearly 2 years, and we've been at capacity. Lucky for us, almost since we started. So we're desperately short of space, and we need to move. So the big thing for us in 2018 is moving.
So you've got Chris and Nick from Torside Brewing. So how you found the festival so far?
It's really good, lovely atmosphere. Lots of people very up for trying insane beers, which is kind of suits us. So.
Yeah, lovely building as well, I have to say. Yeah, it's really nice having it. All the seats in the middle are the perfect place people sit down. It's a good idea, that. Yeah.
So I'll kind of a two-question in one. Like, what kind of beers you brought down today, and if someone's never heard of Torside before, what can they kind of expect for you as a brewery?
We kind of go under the tagline "Hop, Smoke, Monsters," which kind of goes from very hoppy IPAs and using lesser used hops, lesser known hops probably, to we specialise in smoke beers as well. So we bought at least one of those today.
So what beers you brought down today for tasting?
Well, we've got I'm Spartacus, which is American IPA, probably one of our best-selling beers. That nice and fruity, one of my favourites that we do. We've got Vic Secret, a triple IPA, which is one of the Monsters range. So with the Monsters, they tend to be stronger beers. So that's 12% IPA with Vic Secret hops in there. We've got Moth Bar, which is a collab we did with Cafe Beer Moth for their birthday. And that's a Imperial Dark beer with mulatto chilies in there. Not too hot, but nice and kind of like fruity flavours. We've got American Barley Wine with aged in bourbon barrels. We have a Franconia, which is a smoked beer based on the Rauk beer from German-style Rauk beer. And we have Portmanteau, which is a grisette, so a low-strength saison, basically, with Sriracha Ace and Apollo hops in there.
Enjoy the rest of the day.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
So we've got Alex here from Black Iris Brewery. How are you doing?
Yeah, very well, thank you.
So how have you found the festival so far today?
Yeah, festival's been really good. It's been really kind of like busy but relaxed, nice chilled atmosphere, but lots of people, like lots of good turnover. Like to say that there's this many brewers as well, all the bars have had a really good like turnaround, and yeah, it's been a really great event.
So what beers you brought down today then?
Right, so we're pouring six beers in the minute. I suppose two particularly of note. We've got a brand new collaboration beer that we've done with Atom called Cowboys from Hull, a 4.5 Amarillo dry hop saison, and we've got our Let the Juice Loose, which is a 6.5 New England style IPA, and both of those are pretty new, so they're the ones that we're kind of focusing on at the minute. But we've got everything from Imperial Reds to Vic Secret hop dippers, and everything in between.
I did try the Let the Juice Loose. It's very, very nice.
So Jules, this is the first Indie Beer Feast. How do you feel it's been?
It's been going really well. From what I've seen, I mean, at the end of the day, it's the people in here who bought tickets, drinking beer, having a good time. And yeah, there's just been, from what I can see, people are having a good time. The guys and girls working on the bars seem to be really happy as well. And it just seems really relaxed and tasty beers and good food and it's been going really well.
It's quite an unusual venue for this kind of event. We're like literally in a theatre, but it seems to work. Like people are quite enjoying actually sitting in cinema seats and drinking beer.
Yeah, what I found is I think lots of people haven't been in this beautiful old cinema before, and I can see people walking around, touching the walls and looking at the sort of the beautiful ornate cornices, and like you say, you can just sit in a cinema seat and chill out with your beer and look up, and it's just got this beautiful big building, this huge roof, and you can see the balcony, and it's just got a really nice atmosphere, so it seems to be working really well with that.
So for you, this is sort of this is the calm before the storm, because Sheffield Beer Week is not officially underway yet. This is the start of it.
Yeah, I know.
So tell us what else is going on this week. There's a lot happening.
There is, yeah. I mean, I'm a little bit gutted that I couldn't make the Brewster's Tap Takeover event that's been going on at the Rutland tonight. Officially, like you said, it kicks off on Monday with a full kind of 7 days. The beer photography trail went up on Wednesday, so lots of people seem to be going around the venues, checking out the beautiful work from Mark Newton. They're just looking forward to all the Meet the Brewers. A lot of people talking about Beavertown. event at the Kelham show. Lots of people talking about the Northern Monk thing. I know that Steel City and Lost Industry locally are doing some events as well at Brewdog, and I'm really looking forward to actually the Abbeydale thing with Ron Patterson, who's this wonderful beer historian, and they're going to be doing like a barrel-aged beer tasting on Monday that I'm going to head down to, and I'm really excited about that as well.
Excellent. If I had to push you for your favourite beer of the day, would you have one?
Oh, tough. Because I've been working, I've not drunk as much beer as I'd like to if I wasn't working. I've really enjoyed so far. I have to say the Magic Rock De Molen collaboration, the Imperial Stout that's just come out, that's tasting phenomenal. I'm a big fan of sours as well, so I've kind of been checking those out. Definitely like Sierra Nevada. I've got this sort of Orta Vez, which is like a cactus stout, yeah, which is delicious.
Cactus in a beer, how does that work? But it does.
It does, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Jules, I think I speak for a lot of people when I say this has been an absolutely fantastic event. Thank you so much for making it happen, and I hope that the rest of Sheffield Beer Week is just as good as tonight has been.
Oh, cheers, James. That's really nice of you to say that, and it's just great to have your support and everything through the week as well.
Well, Adam, I think it's probably fair to say that I was slightly more worse for wear than you were on.
I was aware that I had a 2.5-year-old to put to bed about an hour after I got back, so didn't stop me.
So one of the beers that I tried at the beer feast is the next one that Sean's got lined up for us tonight.
Yeah, very special beer for Sheffield Beer Week. It's a collaboration between Lost Industry, and on duty that day was Leslie, Jim's mum, and Jules from down at Abbeydale, Hannah from Neatsend Brewery, and then Dev Cat were involved as well. And apologies, I don't know the name of the person, but she is here tonight. Is it Cara? Excuse me. So I was gonna ask her on her next visit past us. But
Cara was chief pomelo peeler.
She loved it.
What a job!
It's a sour. It's a pomelo sour, which I believe is a citrus fruit from Southeast Asia, based on my research a little bit earlier. And it was brewed to celebrate women in beer, women in brewing. I think launched at the Rutland last Saturday, or on Saturday. And Laura is drinking it now on keg here live in the Devonshire Cat, and we've got 3 bottles as well, so we can compare and contrast.
Have a big glass.
Bottles.
Excellent.
Yeah, I think you're going to like this, James. Did you have it on?
I did have it
the beer feast
Saturday. It was actually the first beer that I had. I made a beeline straight over to
enjoyed it
to try it. I did enjoy it. Yeah, it's a little bit more subtle than I think I expected it to be. It's not a.
That's interesting because you were long
sour. Yeah, so as we're pouring this one, obviously Laura, Sean, you were both at the beer feast on Saturday. What were your thoughts? Did you enjoy it?
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a brilliant event. We've not really had anything like that in Sheffield before that's been quite so brewer driven as the festival was. Obviously it was kind of more of a format of, so it's like a mini indie man almost, with the breweries bringing their own bars and their own staff there to chat to about what you were drinking, and it just gives a real extra dimension to the whole festival, I think. We've been in the Picture House, which is obviously an old cinema still set up as a cinema. There were a few people who were coming in sort of, this is weird, and within 5 minutes we're like, no, it's amazing. It's just really nice, quirky venue full of personality and history, and I thought it worked really well.
I think that exact initial thought actually. I walked in, so I was in the early session, so it was like maybe 12:30, still daylight, natural light coming in. I walked in and I didn't anticipate it to be actually in the actual main theatre bit and stuff. I thought there might have been a bit more of like a vestibule kind of thing. You kind of turn a corner and you're straight in. And I'm like, oh. And I think initially I was a little bit like, This is it. Until you realise how space efficient it was, because you've got a big section in the middle with like obviously all the seating for the old cinema, and you've got a big section of the first bit where like Abbeydale was there, and there was Turning Point, there was Blackjack, Moore, and Runaway all on one stand. Laura's favourite Torside, Lost Industry, all in one tiny little kind of sort of initial bit, and then around the far end there was like Magic Rock, Thornbridge. There was a bit of a mixed stand that had like Kirksall and
Vertical, and Sierra Nevada.
And Four Pure as well. Again, I think it took me maybe half an hour to really settle into it, because it's so unusual. Because the actual big space of it, you can't really utilise properly because of all the seating. And people start to kind of have a few beers and sit down. People start to relax in these nice kind of slightly reclining, like sort of seating, which I thought were quite nice. They kind of initially looked quite sort of old and like, oh, these aren't nice. You sit in and go, oh, actually that back balls.
It was the most comfortable beer festival I've ever been to. It was just quite strange having to sit with your friends in a row rather than like sitting looking at each other. That was a little bit strange.
I mean,
but it was quirky. It was really quirky.
Yeah, quirky venue, really well organised, a nice range of different breweries. Food was excellent. Some entertainment in that little room round the back with the scary ladder that everyone seemed to. Some an art exhibition in there. It's got everything that you needed really for a beer festival. Lots of people, and I think perhaps this might be Sheffield. It might be reflected in Sheffield, or it might be reflected in the job that I do. But everyone that there seemed to know each other. It was a very community-minded festival, and so it was literally impossible to walk more than 2 yards without bumping into the next person that we knew. So
yeah, I think
it was good for that.
I walked in, the first person I looked up was Laura's face. I literally turned to go, oh hello, and then I think I kind of after said hello to you, I turned around and there was Kate who we interviewed last week at Rutland with Patrick. And it was like, oh well, we're all here, and then so it was really, really good. And everyone, I mean, I spoke to a lot of brewers getting some time back to hear in the podcast, but everyone was so kind of really positive about what were going off there, and you can kind of see probably the early stages of really what I can remember when Indie Man started, and that was a very small kind of little thing, and what that's turned into now is, why not really?
I think prices were excellent.
Absolutely brilliant. Yeah,
what was pricing? It's rare to be getting coins out to pay for beer.
I think a few people I know were kind of a bit, that's a bit expensive to get in. Once you're in there, you was drinking.
It was good
value. Drinking keg stuff. It were all pretty much all keg apart from I think one cask of dry hop Jaipur, I think was. But you were talking maybe £2 to £2.50 for a half.
That's good.
And it didn't seem to rise on strength really. It seemed quite balanced, and I think for something that's not in the pub, it's got the big volumes of it. I think that was a good price point, and if that can continue, then
everyone was well behaved. Obviously, apart from one. We're not going to name it, but
I have a complaint about the Indie Beer Feast. Just one complaint, which is the beer that I was most looking forward to was the Thornbridge Blueberry and Passion Fruit Tart, which wasn't there. They didn't have
it wasn't on the morning session either. So.
Advertised as it's been one of their beers, it wasn't there. So after being full of praise for Thornbridge last month, for Tullamarine, this month it's a big Red Cross.
Well, you did also praise the Raspberry Blonde, which they did have another. That was very rare last month. They did have a keg of that on. So,
are you an old school complainer, James? Has a letter already gone to Thornbridge headquarters at Bakewell, or are you an email complainer? Or
I just tweet them.
Just tell your friends.
I just tweet them a picture of me with a sad face.
I mean, it's got Meg in a headlock.
It's guaranteed no retweets.
I mean, I didn't go to Indie Beer Feast, so I took a backseat on that conversation. Yeah, prior engagements.
Does it sound like a good thing for next year, then?
It sounds like something to sort of attend to, make sure to put a date in your diary for next year. But I'll refer to something I did on the rough report. I did for Manchester Beer Festival. How important is the venue? Once you said you took a while, but once you get there, how much did it add to your experience?
The one thing I thought was that not at any point did it feel like you were bottlenecking anywhere. And I mean, I don't know how many tickets were sold or anything, and to be honest, the pictures I've seen for the evening session didn't really seem to get that busy. It didn't look like it was overcrowded, because obviously
there's no point where it was overcrowded.
If you imagine a theatre, even like a cinema, you come down and you've got the main like run down between the seats in the middle, and then you open up at the end bit. That's kind of all you kind of have to play with, really, unless you kind of branched out into the food bit or sat in the seats. So my thinking is, unfortunately, if it does grow, I'm not sure how much it can expand unless you go
outgrow its venue.
I know there's outside space where they do like some of the market stuff at that venue, so maybe if it moves to something like a summer and you risk it going outside, but it didn't feel crowded at all. But if the demand for it's there next year, or it stays niche and you kind of you have limited tickets and you are fighting for tickets like you sometimes are for in demand now, I suppose. But
I mean, we talk about like the venue as well, but a lot of venues and beer festivals themselves sort of like place the beer festivals in a certain time of the year. We look at what was the National Winters Ales Festival in Derby, now in Norwich. Derby have continued that Winters Ales theme. Does this Indie Beer Feast feel like a February, March type of festival, or are the beers available, did it feel like a June, July, August sort of festival?
I think it could work as both. My thought when I first got there was, because it's relatively small, could it be more than an annual event? Is there something that could run 2, maybe even 3 times a year with maybe a few different breweries involved? Doesn't necessarily need to be all the same ones. I think it's always going to have a bit of a Sheffield bias, but various kind of guest breweries and stuff like that. And I think I don't know how Jules would feel about trying to organise it more than once a year, but I think it could definitely work as something that happens more regularly than just annually.
I agree with that, but I think as well, with it being at this time of the year, it fits in well with the other things that Sheffield has going on, because obviously there's the Sheffield University one that I think is in April, May.
I think it's April.
First week
is it May this year?
Bank holiday week.
It has been April.
Then you've got Sunfest up at the Rising Sun that Abbeydale Brewery running early July, and then you've got Sheffield Camera that's in October. So actually, if you kind of think of it like that, obviously none of them are going to exactly the same target market, but there's plenty to do for beer drinkers in Sheffield throughout the year. So I think it does work well where it is, but I also think Sheffield could sustain it, probably running a couple of times a year as well.
You are replacing the Beer X or the Madness Season, which was it this week?
Yeah.
Last year. I know it didn't really exist to the public anymore at all, but even though it's moved to Liverpool as trade. Just a little thing I think about, something you said last month when you were saying that is it a time for Sheffield to kind of show what they've got to offer. And obviously you guys there at Abbeydale and Lost Industry, and I was blown away by some of the stuff that Abbeydale had on. Like some of the things that I'm not a big kind of barrel age kind of things, I'm a bit wary about it, and I thought some of the stuff you had on was absolutely incredible. And I can't wait to try and find it again. And then you got your new dipper on as well.
Deliverance can
But you had the. Can you remind me what the two ones you had? The oak barrel aged. No,
it was an oak fermented saison, which was quite a divergence from the sours we've done before, because it's the first one that was primary fermented in barrel. So it was worth going into barrel rather than a finished beer that you then re-pitching with bugs and stuff. And then we also had barrel-aged Crouton, and there was the 1868 that's on the bar here tonight as well. So there were a few different.
It's just mad how far they've kind of come in maybe 5 years. Abbeydale's like a really traditional almost like we're exclusively cask probably. I don't know how many years.
Yeah. Full disclosure at this point, I also work for Abbeydale Brewery alongside
I think I was covered.
Probably everybody's worked that out by now. Until I started working at the brewery just under 3 years ago, and when I started, they were running at about 1% keg, which was up from nothing the year previously. This is all very rough figures, but I think we're now sat at around 10% keg and coming up to 1% can, which still doesn't sound like a lot, but the output of the brewery is, we make a lot of beer, so it is a significant amount of beer that's now going into keg and into can as well, so it's really exciting to be part of it. Yeah.
It feels quite a lot local though, I suppose. Maybe I don't know if that's kind of nationally or whatever, but it feels more than that. But I think maybe just because we have such a lot of it in our pubs in Sheffield and stuff. But
so much of it is new though, isn't it?
Yeah,
so I remember the first time that my local, the Quarter Cottage, got one of the Abbeydale keg beers on, and I was quite taken aback because Abbeydale at that point, and this is probably only got back 18 months ago, was just purely a cask, an old-fashioned, traditional, very very nice, but very much kind of traditional beers brewery. So it's very refreshing to move very quickly and in a lot of different directions, which is impressive. We've actually got an Abbeydale beer, which is the next one that we've got lined up. Before then, the mellow, by the way, I'm guessing is a little bit like grapefruit, but a bit sweeter.
Yeah. I noticed it is also known as pamplemousse, and isn't that another name for grapefruit as well? Pamplemousse is I thought it was. So there's a lot of grapefruit in that.
I really like this pomelo sour from West Industry. I think it tastes like Fancy Books fizz.
Don't say that. That's pulling it down.
In a good way. And I think I've got half of the keg of the same beer alongside the bottle. I think possibly the keg's got a tiny bit more zing from the fruit, but they are very similar. So I think it carries really well into the bottle as well, and I really enjoy it. I think it's a lovely beer.
It's a little bit like when you get like your pink grapefruit, which is not quite as hard, but you get that kind of
bit of tiff. You get that
but not quite as like puckering as like a standard. Yeah, really, really good.
I mean, I must be maybe one of the only people I'm really not sure on sours as yet as a whole. And I know that ruffles feathers. However,
for a sour though, isn't it?
However, I'm drinking it and I'm thinking a half for me. I know I get labelled as the traditional casker sort of thing, but a half I would enjoy that. That's not bad. That. Again, I think it's more of a summer beer for me.
Yeah, I think it's very, very summer.
Summer beer. I can see that. I mean, maybe watching a bit of football, cricket, whatever you like. Just on that sort of open plain, sun's out, painting the picture sort of thing.
It'd actually be a really good beer to release for tram lines, wouldn't it? Where you can go out in the sunshine and work really, really well that week.
And as soon as you say that, you've jinxed it, and it'll be raining every day, and my ticket will be screwed up.
We talked about this last month about how converting people who are not traditionally maybe cider drinkers, how close are we here, do you think, in terms of someone who might be a cider drinker, getting them on something a bit sour, a bit more tart? I mean, it's not your clean kind of clear beer, so some people kind of look at it and go,
it's going to bridge a gap a little.
Yeah, but I don't think it's too far off. It's actually, if you're
I think that's a good in between.
I think in between is perhaps the right word. I'm finding there's sourness, but there's a bitterness to it. I think that probably comes from the fruit that stews being a bitter fruit.
I think that might be your Chinook hops coming through as well.
That takes it slightly back closer to a more beery taste rather than an all-on soury taste, which is perhaps why you're saying you'd like it to be even more sour.
I do like a sour that kind of grabs me and gives me a good kind of beating. And that certainly isn't that kind of beer, but I do appreciate. I probably appreciate it more now than I probably did on Saturday, and I think this is the first beer that I had on Saturday. We've had a couple of more traditional beers before drinking it tonight. Which has kind of helped us really put kind of the taste into some kind of context. and I have enjoyed it, and it is nice.
My only complaint about this is that Laura is not on the label.
Yeah, I wasn't involved in this one.
This could have been the first Chef Hopcast beer. We're involved in this one.
Our final beer of the night is an Abbeydale beer, and we've had quite a lot of love for Abbeydale tonight, which is good.
Not only as a result.
Yeah, not just from me.
No, it is fitting that we finish with an Abbeydale beer. But tell us a bit about this one, Sean.
It is Salvation number 7. And it's a Rocky Road stout, and I think Laura perhaps is the best place to give us some of the ingredients.
So it's a 5.2% milk stout, but basically I really like baking with beer, and there's a lot of us at the brewery that enjoy sort of a nice puddingy stout. It was our brewer Jamie who came up with this, who makes some really, really great recipes for stouts. So it's packed full of everything you'd expect in Rocky Road, really. So there's cocoa nibs in there, cranberries, raisins, some marshmallow syrup, but all on a nice classic roasty stout backbone, so it's not overpoweringly sweet.
I must say, when I first saw this, I can't remember where it was where I first saw it, but I looked at it and just thought, I know that you're a big fan of dessert beers, and I just looked at it and thought, I bet Laura's had something to do with this beer. It is very much kind of your sort of thing, isn't it?
I haven't actually baked anything with it yet, which I should really do. Rocky Road Stout Brownies coming soon.
Roast aroma again, not too sweet.
Very much like the Dom.
Yeah, it
as
is.
in like the flavours aren't there on the nose.
Yeah,
it's got a nice bite to it.
I get a lot of dark chocolate on it when I drink it. Really, really dark chocolate.
So we've had a few of these ones, haven't we, actually? So I did have this one last week, actually. Really enjoyed it. Introduced it to my brother-in-law, it's from down south, so some of the Abbeydale stuff doesn't travel quite as far, so it's a nice kind of an introduction for him. Well, a few of the other ones being.
I think it's what, if you try and taste the individual ingredients, like it doesn't taste like cranberries, it doesn't taste like marshmallows, but if you kind of think of Rocky Road as a, as a single flavour, I think it does work really well from that respect.
Yep, nice.
It's nice and complex without being overbearing. I quite like it not too sweet.
I would like it just a touch sweet, actually. I do like the pastry sort of stout to be nice and sweet.
Just a little bit sharper than Dom had earlier. And what I quite like is the kind of the sort of the milk base to it kind of comes through. I really taste that, and that gives it just that little bit more kind of body to it.
You touched on an earlier podcast about your dessert beers, didn't you? And I'm not sure if this would be as satisfying as you guys alluded to from your speaking, but it is a nice sort of finisher, I think. A nice little finisher beer, rather than I'll start on this and I'll keep going through the night. But I think you think, oh, one more before I go, I'll have this. And I think that's, for me, sort of what sums that up as a beer. I'm a fan of it. I really like it. I think for its kind of like strength level, I think sometimes once it gets a bit sweeter, I kind of prefer it a bit stronger. I think it like kind of 5 points. Is it 5.2? Is it? It still feels kind of like you could have a pint of it and it not be like, you get that point when thinking, oh, it's a bit too like flavourful in one direction. I think it's still got that nice backbone and just a nice kind of.
Available on cask, or is that?
Yes.
And I imagine that being on cask, a really enjoyable beer. A really enjoyable beer.
Smoothness to it.
I also think it's on the fence. I think it could be brilliant either, to be honest. It's that kind of strength and clarity that you're not. That if you had it slightly colder and slightly carbonated, I or if you had it nice and smooth, I think it'd work either way, really. And I think that from all the Salvation range, really. What was the last one? Was it the what was? There's been a few on the donut one.
Donut, coffee and donut.
And you was it in the coconut?
Yeah, that was quite an early one. The coconut one. That was probably my favourite one.
It's nice just to take those. It's like playing with the hops, I suppose. I mean, if you want single hops, why not just have a base beer that you kind of flick with the kind of different ingredients?
I know you're a real team down at Abbeydale, and you can see that in everything you do when we meet you around town and that. But I'm interested in how how does the concept develop for a beer like that? Is it people sat in the office throwing in ideas and having a laugh with it, or is it down to one person going away and coming back with something?
With the Brewers Emporium beers, that's what we call the range, got Salvation, the Voyager IPA, and the ones that look similar to that in it, it's absolutely open to everybody, and that's that works within the brewery and the pubs as well. It's one of the things I particularly enjoy about working at Abbeydale is that I don't brew, I'm the office manager there, but if I have an idea for a beer, I'm just as entitled to put that idea forward as our brewers are, as are the bar staff, and we can all kind of throw those in, and then we'll kind of look at what we've already got coming up and what would fit in seasonally, what ingredients we can source responsibly at that time of the year, and so on. So there's quite a lot of factors at play, but it is something that we really do. Anybody that wants to get involved really can. There's no reason why we can't crowdsource ideas either. So if anybody's got one, throw it into the mix and
to work somewhere where you can eat and be influenced by other things, foods particularly, and other drinks, and then think, right, Monday morning I'm suggesting that for a beer, and it'll go on someone's list and be a potential beer for the future. Sounds like a great way of doing it.
Does that mean it's potential for us to influence the next version?
Well, Sheffield Hopcast definitely needs to do a collaboration beer at some point over the next 6 months. It is a must. It's got to be a sour, it's got to be fruity, for James particularly.
I'm happy with that.
So we need a Rocky Road, fruity, sour, pale, dark.
Let's just throw everything in it. Every ingredient you can possibly think of. Throw it into one beer. Let's see what happens.
When we were young, we used to call it a Petrol mix. Sorry, Mum.
I mean, while we're on the topic of new beers, I'll probably get shot for this. However, from Brew Foundation, there is an in-development beer of a New World IPA with Pecco hops called Pecco Chew. Very much in the test phase, as and I quote, to some extent, the first batch was rubbish.
Oh, still getting cut out.
Yeah,
you're selling it well.
Yeah, the second batch has gone well as a test brew, but it's still much a watch this space for this. But it is in development. I know you was all sort of pining for the comeback.
I'm not sure that sounds as good as the Hopcast beer.
No, yeah, well, I mean,
it's formulating. We need a good name for it as well, don't we?
Yes.
I quite like Petrol Mix.
Petrol Mix.
Petrol Mix.
4-star.
Are you showing your age now, Sean?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Russ got no idea what 4-star is.
So we're coming to. When's officially spring? Are we in spring yet?
1st of March.
Literally,
Does that mean we're officially out of our beers now?
Not quite.
I think a stout is all year round.
Yeah, it's definitely the case. Definitely the case.
They tend to disappear for a long time for me. But no, it's not like I dislike them.
You're a drinking stereotype, right? Lagers and pale ales during summer, and big stouts.
I'm finding a lot of satisfaction in like very traditional stuff again. Yeah. I think you can really like overhop yourself. And I've said it before, like if you on the road for me is like Nag's Head, which is the Bradfield Brewery tap, for £2. You will not find on the right day.
One of the benches
you will not find a better find than just something just very clean and standard. And it's very much similar with things like again like Deception or like Moonshine from Abbeydale, like the complete opposite something like these things and some of the stuff we were drinking at the weekend. There's a time and a place for everything. I think that I think coming back
Embracing
into
all of those different experiences.
I think coming back into spring, I think that's time when you start going. You know, it's warm enough to still go for the, sit outside, I suppose.
Yeah.
And maybe just have a couple of 4%ers, nice pale ale, nice Sheffield style kind of easygoing light pale ale.
And a bottle of Petrol mix.
Yeah, a bottle of Petrol mix. If anybody wants to do as a Petrol mix,
pure ethanol. The follow-up
it needs to be like
diesel.
12% plus.
Unleaded. We were struggling for a fourth version, but
hybrid, some sort of hybrid with
Hey,
electricity involved.
If you want to get listeners involved, you know where we are on Twitter and Facebook and all that. Send us your suggestions.
Guys, I'm going to have to push you for your favourite beer of the night. We're going to have to pick a winner. So, Laura, you're on Twitter at Mashton and Meow. I'm going to come to you first. What's been your beer of the night?
I'm going to go for the Emmeline, the Pomelo Sour from Lost Industry and other beery ladies. I just think it's really clean, really fresh, really tasty, and named after a suffragette. So that gets my vote tonight.
Good reason. Russ is on Twitter at RussNorton96. What's going to be your pick of the night?
I'll go for the last one we've just tried, the Abbeydale Salvation. Good one, yeah. I mean, I'm not a dark drinker by any stretch of the imagine, but I enjoyed that out of all of it. Probably in close second, the Emmeline. So, yeah, I've gone.
Fair enough. Sean is at Beer Central Ltd. What is your winner tonight, Sean?
I love grapefruit. I don't always love sours, but clear winner Emmeline for me from Lost Industry, and the Sheffield Beer Girls, for want of a better name.
Adam on the bar chef.
Yeah.
What are you going for?
I'm going to follow the trend a little bit and say the Lost Industry one, the Pomelo Sour. But to be honest, I think they've all had strengths really. So
yeah.
I was a bit worried about doing kind of a very sort of Sheffield focused one, but I think they've all been very good.
I think it shows all sides of Sheffield.
I think
really nice.
We've ticked all boxes. I think
there are lots of other breweries out there that we should apologise to for not drinking their beer tonight, but we couldn't squeeze any more than 4 in, and I think those 4 showcase what Sheffield has to offer.
So I'm on Twitter at James Marriott, and it's almost a clean sweep because I'm also going to go with the Lost Industry Emmeline, which, as I say, I've actually enjoyed more this evening than I did on Saturday, although I did like it on Saturday, but I really enjoyed it.
You've got to remember it this time,
yeah, I do. I remember it. I think it's an excellent beer. So 4 votes for Lost Industry, which is almost a clean sweep. Excellent. Well done. As ever, you can get in touch with the Hopcast via Twitter at Chef Hopcast. You can search us out on Facebook, or you can drop an email to beer@sheffieldhopcast.co.uk. Please subscribe and rate and review the Hopcast if you like what you hear. Your feedback helps us get better month by month. It's actually been quite an interesting month for us. It's been our first run of beer mats that are kind of out there now. Thank you to R3D2 Social Media for their sponsorship of that. Also thank you to Radio Sheffield for having Adam and I on this morning, actually, talking about the Hopcast and Sheffield Beer Week. But most of all, thank you for your company. Have a cracking Sheffield Beer Week, and we'll see you next month.